Hi guys, Jane here, and today I want to talk about Launch to Market, Easy Marketing for Authors by Chris Fox. And this is actually a reread for me. I read it, I'm gonna say a year ago, like early 2017 originally. And I'm a huge fan of Chris Fox. I do think that new writers could really benefit from following his YouTube channel. But this particular book, I could only give a 3 out of 5 to. And the first issue I have with it is just the length. It's a fairly short read. It took me about an hour to read. And a lot of the ideas in his book are stuff that you can find elsewhere with a little bit more meat to it. Again, that doesn't make it bad. It just means that for me, I was kind of like a little underwhelmed just with the size of it. Some of the highlights of it that I think are really important and were good messages. The biggest takeaway is that your writing journey is a process. It's not a sprint, and it's going to take time. And so, don't give up if you have a bad launch. Even though it may feel like one launch is catastrophically going to end your career, that's not really the case. It's a process. And even if you're slowly and incrementally picking up readers, you're making progress towards the bigger goal. So incremental improvements is one thing he talks about, and that is like, what can I do today to get one extra reader, basically? Or like, what can I do? What little steps can I take to gain a couple readers or to sell a couple books to people who are going to come back? He also talks about long-term thinking, which is, you're not just looking to sell books, you're looking to form relationships and get people into what he calls a book funnel, which is basically getting people to buy your other books, like to go from, I'm going to pick up this book by an unknown author, to becoming a fan of yours. And those are all really important points. Some of the things that he talked about in this book, I have tried, and I didn't necessarily have a lot of success with. The biggest challenge I had personally following this advice was with a mailing list. People talk about how vital mailing lists are. I think mailing lists are vital, but I've had challenges getting one, even just set up. MailerLite requires that you have a website and that you have an email associated with that website. And MailChimp, you don't necessarily have to, but it can be kind of costly if you have to do all that stuff, and that's assuming you're learning to build your own website and learn how to even do all that. And I'm not very techy, so I was originally going to go with MailerLite because I'd heard it was easier to use than MailChimp, but I ended up going with MailChimp, and it's been rough. Just honestly. And again, this is coming from somebody who's not techie. If you're pretty techie, you're not gonna have these issues, but I'm not. I set up my MailChimp and wasn't getting subscribers. So I tested it and I couldn't subscribe to myself. There was a problem with the setup. So I had to actually go and get the paid MailChimp plan and have a tech person help me set it up. So I did that, thinking, okay, well, that was the problem. It's all fixed, we're good. I did that for about 4 months, paid for the higher plan, so that, once I did get some people, I could start sending emails and newsletters and get help if I needed it. And I still didn't have any subscribers. So getting subscribers to an email list is hard. A lot harder than I was expecting. And my link to my email list is in the back of every book. It's on my Facebook page. It's on my website. I mean, it's out there, but it's not something that a lot of people are clicking on. And as a reader, I kind of understand. Like, I think I'm only on the email list of 5 writers, and they are people who I really, really, really like my top 5 people who I love the information they send. So I get it. One way he suggests of building an email list is to put out a reader magnet, which is a book that is associated with your stories but that is not like directly, not like a chunk of your story, but like a prologue, an epilogue, a side character story, that kind of thing, and put it on InstaFreebie where you can collect emails. And I didn't quite do that because I write romance, so finding like an extra story in there, I don't know, that just didn't work for me. And my other problem, and this I think is part of the reason that some of the stuff in this book doesn't work as well for me, and it may not work as well if you're not, quote, writing to market. And writing to market means, it's complicated, but basically it means writing in a genre that has a hungry audience, not a lot of books in that genre, and books written very tropish to that genre. So because I'm not writing to market, I didn't know what reader magnets put out because I didn't think anything would really represent my whole series or books. At the time I was doing romance standalones, and I'm still like, I have a series planned, I'm in the works, but it's not out yet. So I did join an anthology that we put on InstaFreebie, and here was my problem. We did collect emails, but by the end of it, we only collected 200, which I know we were all expecting and hoping for a lot more. And it had, so much time had passed since we put it up to the time that we as the people in the anthology had gotten the emails that we could manually input, that I honestly felt bad. Like, these people were suddenly going to be on all these people's email lists, and they hadn't heard from us for months, and I couldn't do that. So I ended up not actually putting those people on my email list, which I don't know if that was a right call or not, but I want people, if they are on my mailing list, to be engaged and to want to be there. So another thing that Chris Fox talks about that I think is valuable, but also a little bit hard if you don't have a lot of time to devote to marketing, is to really studying your metrics and figuring out, like, okay, I did this and this is how many sales I got from it, and really like keeping an Excel file, you know, which promotion sites, how many sales are you getting from, after you ran that promotion, how many sales did you get above what you normally get? And this is all really good information to have, except that it's really time consuming to collect all of that. And I think Chris Fox is a full-time writer. I know he wasn't always, but I think he is and has been for a while. And if you are not a full-time writer, or even somebody who, like, I would love to be a full-time writer, but I only have about 3 or 4 hours a week for marketing. And now that I'm doing YouTube, it's probably like an hour a week that I could do marketing. So it's just really, I think, hard to do if you're starting out, and I'm not sure how valuable it is, although Chris Fox is a full-time writer and making 6 figures and I'm not. So, he probably knows a lot more than I do. But for me, it's really just hard keeping track of everything and, finding the time to study what's the result of this. And also, like, I don't have a lot of money to invest in advertising, so messing with ads and stuff, which he talks about a little bit. I touched that at one point, but it was just so very time consuming, so expensive, that I just ended up being like, that's not something I can do. So overall, I think there's some good things in the book. It's worth a read. It's kind of short though, and I don't feel like it's the Bible of all marketing books. I do think that everybody should subscribe to his channel, which I'm going to link below, but I'm not necessarily sure that this is a book that should be on every writer's bookshelf. So that was my thoughts on the book. My social media, the subscribe button, the like button in the comments, all that's down there. So see you next time, guys. Bye.